This is probably the worst news that we have heard from this war so far. Iran just announced something critical to the average American. They're shutting down Port Hormuz, which transports over 50% of all global oil. This is going to directly affect the supply and demand for oil, which then affects the average American person. And this is the #1 strait for transportation for oil and energy worldwide. To help you guys understand the consequence of this and how drastic it is, this means Iran has made the decision to not allow a single boat to pass through the Strait of Hormuz and transport oil or energy. And people are predicting that this could cause oil to skyrocket 100x in price. And what that means is when you go to get your car filled up and all of these simple day-to-day things that include oil or energy, it could cost extremely more. Now with all of this news, there is an opportunity to make a lot of money, so pay attention. Articles are predicting that oil is going to skyrocket in value because of the confirmed war that the United States is now involved in. Now, because all of this news broke out during the weekend when the markets are closed, people are waiting to throw a bunch of money into oil during the market open, which happens on Monday. Now, the crypto market, on the other hand, is not closed, and people are starting to buy oil coins like crazy. And this is the one that I have been buying because the American oil reserve has gone up over 76% in value today. You guys need to realize that the United States is now entering into a full-fledged war with Iran in the Middle East, and historically that has caused oil prices to skyrocket like crazy, and that is exactly why people are predicting that the American oil reserve could skyrocket like crazy during the market open on Monday, which could cause this coin to pump like crazy in value, and that's why insiders are already buying in and why the coin is up over 76% today, and also why I've been doing my research and buying into this coin. I think there is a lot of bullish news to do with this coin itself and oil in general, and that could cause this to go up like crazy. I honestly think the American oil reserve coin AOR has a lot of potential for the next few weeks as this war begins to escalate and people are predicting it is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. I think oil coins and the AOR coin could do extremely well, and people are predicting that stuff like this could go up over 100x in value, which is insane to think about. The way I like to think about it is oil is going to be greatly affected by this war, and that is going to cause the supply to go down, which is going to make the demand subsequently go up, which will drive up the price of oil and oil coins and all of this stuff. This is not financial advice, but this is the historical trend of what usually tends to happen to oil and the economy when the United States enters into a war. To find the American oil reserve coin that I am talking about, all you have to do is search up AOR on Phantom Wallet, and you guys will be able to find this. I think oil and everything is going to do extremely well because it's what tends to happen historically when there's war like this. I personally have millions of dollars invested in oil and also millions of dollars invested in crypto, and I've been studying crypto and posting content daily for the last 2 years to find opportunities just like this one. So make sure to drop me a follow and stay tuned because 2026 is looking like a year filled with opportunity.
Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz and who exactly is allowed to use it. Ali Lajani, who is the head of Iran's National Security Council, just came out and made a rather interesting statement. He said the Strait of Hormuz will either be a strait of peace and prosperity for all, or it will be a strait of defeat and suffering for warmongers. Some countries will be allowed through, but there is a little bit of a caveat. You have to make sure that you, whether you're Arab or European, expel the ambassadors of Israel and America from your territories. Yalla, yalla, bye-bye, Israel and America out of your countries. Now, if you do this, you will have the full freedom and authority to go through the Strait of Hormuz as and when you choose, undisrupted. But look, it's fair play. They control the region and they want America and Israel gone. And if you're doing business with America and Israel in your territories, then Iran is not doing business with you.
Right now, a vessel is burning in the Strait of Hormuz, and the entire world is about to feel the heat. Just 20 miles away from the coast, thick smoke is rising from a ship that's been engulfed in flames for hours. This isn't just a localized fire. It is a signal that one of the world's most vital energy arteries has been severed. Look just around the corner and you will see a haunting sight. Dozens, if not hundreds, of massive oil tankers and cargo ships are sitting ducks, huddled together and waiting in a total standstill. They are terrified to move because the Iranian military has seized complete control of the passage. The message is clear: not a single drop of oil is allowed to pass. In normal times, 20 million barrels of oil flow through this narrow waterway every single day. Now, that flow has been choked off entirely. The economic shockwaves are already slamming into the global market. Fuel prices in Egypt have surged by 30% overnight. Major producers like Saudi Arabia and Kuwait have been forced to slash their outputs by millions of barrels. The tension is reaching a terrifying breaking point. As warnings arrive that the pressure will hit 20 times harder if this blockade continues, the response from the ground remains defiant. This narrow spit of water will either be a place of peace or a graveyard for those who challenge it. With US and European warships reportedly moving in to attempt high-stakes escort missions, the focus of global conflict has shifted right here. Every second this passage remains closed, the threat of a catastrophic economic collapse grows. The world is watching, and the stakes have never been higher. Subscribe for more urgent updates on this developing global crisis.
Iran has started laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, according to CNN intel reports, and this is pretty much a worst-case scenario for any oil tankers trying to move through that critical waterway and getting oil prices back down. Basically, it won't be safe for tankers to move through that area until the mines are cleared. And that is a hugely complicated process. So these mines come in many forms. They could float on the surface of the water. They could float at various levels under the water, even at the bottom, where they can pop up when a tanker comes past. So you can see how difficult it is going to be to clear this waterway. Only a few dozen have been laid so far in the past few days, according to these sources. But Iran does have enough small boats left, apparently, to lay hundreds of these mines if they want to. President Trump immediately fired off as soon as he heard, saying if Iran has put out any mines in the Hormuz Strait, and we have no reports of them doing so, we want them removed immediately. If for any reason mines were placed and they were not removed forthwith, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before.
Donald Trump just responded to new intelligence that suggests Iran is about to deploy mines throughout the Strait of Hormuz, effectively shutting it down completely. This would be catastrophic for gas prices. He says if Iran has placed any mines in the Hormuz Strait, we want them removed immediately. If for any reason mines were placed and they have not been removed forthwith, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before. If, however, they've removed what has been placed, it would be a giant step in the right direction. Then he mentions that they're using the same technology and missile capabilities deployed against the traffickers to prematurely eliminate any boat or ship attempting to mine the Hormuz Strait. Then why is he worried about it? Just one day ago, shortly before the stock market closed, coincidentally, Donald Trump told us the war with Iran was about to end. However, now it seems like it's just getting started. If naval mines do end up getting deployed throughout the Hormuz Strait, which Iran has done in the past, by the way, that would mean no ship can safely pass, even if they get an escort from our Navy, which Donald Trump said was going to happen.
As we continue Operation Epic Fury, we're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world, and I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level. I will take out those targets that were easy and that I mentioned just before. We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever. If they want to play that game, they better not play that game. In the long run, oil supplies will be dramatically more secure without the threat of Iranian ships, drones, missiles, nuclear menace, or anything. So the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain safe. We have a lot of Navy ships there. We have the best equipment in the world, inspecting for mines. Again, most of their ships are down at the bottom of the sea, but we will hit them so hard that it will not be possible for them or anybody else helping them to ever recover that section of the world if they do anything.
We are ruled by monsters, bro. I swear to God. Like, Iran has the Strait of Hormuz closed at the moment, right? They've got it blocked to all ships going through there, which has thrown the West into a bit of an economic crisis, considering 20% of the world's oil supply runs through the Strait of Hormuz every day. Now, Iran have basically said to the world, we will let your ships through as long as you expel the US and Israeli ambassadors from your countries. Not one nation has taken that offer up. Iran are essentially giving us an out They are saying you can go back to having your fucking Western capitalist treats as long as you stop supporting the people that are bombing us. Stop supporting the people that are committing genocide. They are going to reward us for standing on the right side of fucking history. And all of our leaders are so fucking cowardly, are so keen to suck up to America and to Israel that they are saying, fuck everyone in their respective countries. No, we're going to continue supporting this unprovoked war on Iran. Instead of going, okay, we're going to expel the ambassadors. No, we're going to shoot our way through the strait. Are you fucking kidding me? Iran have opened up that door for us. They've given us an out. They've said, you've supported genocide up until now. You can stop and we'll reward you. But no, we'll choose not to. It fucking blows my mind, bro. Like,
the president and his energy team are closely watching the markets, speaking with industry leaders, and the U.S. military is drawing up additional options following the president's directive to continue keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. I will not broadcast what those options look like, but just know the president is not afraid to use them. Rest assured to the American people, the recent increase in oil and gas prices is temporary, and this operation will result in lower gas prices in the long term. Once the national security objectives of Operation Epic Fury are fully achieved, Americans will see oil and gas prices drop rapidly, potentially even lower than they were prior to the start of the operation. And we will live in a world where Iran can no longer threaten the United States or our allies with a nuclear bomb.
Can you explain why the energy secretary posted and then appeared to have deleted a post on X saying that the U.S. Navy escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz?
Yes, I was made aware of this post. I haven't had a chance to talk to the energy secretary about it directly. However, I know the post was taken down pretty quickly, and I can confirm that the U.S. Navy has not escorted a tanker or a vessel at this time, though, of course, that's an option the president has said he will absolutely utilize if and when necessary at the appropriate time.
We have an update on the conflict regarding oil. Iran officially closed the Strait of Hormuz and warns any ship passing through will be set on fire. Roughly 20% of the world's oil comes from that region. Yes, America has its own oil. Yes, other countries have their own oil. But oil is essentially a finite asset like Bitcoin. And 20% of the entire oil supply is a lot. And this is going to cause oil prices to rise. Anytime there's any drama with oil or a finite asset, number goes up. Well, in this case particularly because they're essentially restricting some of that supply. We're removing it from the system, kind of like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a finite asset. Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever be made. And due to human error, we lose some. Now, anytime there's risk associated or drama like this happening, number goes up because oil is finite, which then causes market volatility with other things. And the ivory towers, they only care about one thing. Comment what you think it is below.
The global economy is staring down a potential heart attack. The focus, a 21-mile wide strip of water known as the Strait of Hormuz. It is an extremely sensitive waterway that really is home to the exit of roughly 20% of global consumption of oil. It is essential to the entire world economy, and it has been more or less shut down entirely as the conflict in the Middle East has picked up. And that creates a significant problem for the Trump administration. As things currently stand, two major Gulf oil producers, Iraq and Kuwait, have been rapidly shutting down their production as they run out of storage space. Other larger Gulf countries may be doing the same in short order, and that creates a potential oil supply shock for the entire world. So what's the actual solution here? Well, the administration has already made clear they are willing to consider U.S. military protection to get ships through this critical strait. But those plans are still in process when you talk to administration officials, as the acute risk that those ships face is still very much a reality. In the near term, the administration has tried to triage some of the pressures that have been building. They have issued licenses to allow for the sale of sanctioned Russian oil that's already out on the water. They've signed off on a $20 billion insurance proposal to try and incentivize ships to go through on their own. But without military protection, given the scale of the conflict still underway, right now, there isn't really a great answer. That puts a tremendous amount of pressure on an administration that is acutely aware of the risks to its own assets, but also the risk to the global economy.
Okay, this is actually extremely serious, and most people don't understand how dangerous this situation could become, right? There are now reports that Iran has begun laying naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz. And if that's true, we're talking about one of the most dangerous escalation scenarios in the global economy. Because the Strait of Hormuz isn't some wide open ocean, okay? At its narrowest point, it's only 21 miles wide. But the actual shipping lanes, the ones oil tankers use, are only about a couple of miles across. Now, think about that for a second. Naval mines don't need to cover the entire strait, okay? If mines appear in one of those lanes, commercial ships simply won't risk passing through until the area is cleared completely. And here's the part most people seem to forget. About 20% of the world's oil passes through that single corridor. So if shipping stops, even temporarily, oil prices spike even more, markets panic, and the governments get involved very quickly. That's why the Strait of Hormuz has always been considered one of the most dangerous choke points on Earth. And mining it is essentially a signal that the situation is moving toward a much more serious phase. This is one of those moments where a narrow strip of water can suddenly affect the entire world.
Things are escalating right now in Iran, as Iran said earlier and threatened that they were going to mine the Strait of Hormuz so no ship could get through. Literally mine the shipping lanes. In response to that, now Trump goes on to Truth Social and announces that the U.S. military apparently have destroyed 10 ships carrying mines. Now the number is up to 16, reports are saying. So it starts off earlier with a vague threat. If Iran has put out any mines in the Hormuz Strait and we have no reports of them doing so, we want them removed immediately. For any reason mines were placed and they are not removed forthwith, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before. If, on the other hand, they remove what they have been placed, it will be a giant step in the right direction. Additionally, we are using the same technology and missile capabilities deployed against drug traffickers to permanently eliminate any boat or ship attempting to mine the Hormuz Strait. They will be dealt with quickly and violently. Beware. As I said, trying to escalate things. But then things did escalate. Trump announces, I am pleased to report that within the last few hours, we have hit and completely destroyed 10 inactive mine-laying boats and or ships, with more to follow. And now, according to Reuters, that number is up to 16. And we'll keep following this story for you guys. As always, share the story and follow along for more. I will always keep you up to date with the news that you need to know about.
If Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder, in capitals, than they have been hit thus far. Additionally, we will take out easily destroyable targets that will make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back as a nation again. Death, fire, and fury will rain upon them. A few things here. Just in case there's any doubt that he meant this genocidal threat, the White House official account also shared it. So much for the claims that this war was about liberating the Iranian people, about riding to their rescue with missiles and bombs. He's threatening Donald Trump, the President of the United States, to destroy unspecified targets in Iran that will, to repeat, make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back as a nation again. Death, fire, and fury will rain upon them. I mean, he's sort of biblical. He sounds like a kind of deranged, kind of Christian fundamentalist extremist. I mean, he sounds like a fascist. And if it, quacks like etc. There's nothing subtle about this. It is a clear statement threatening grotesque war crimes and crimes against humanity. He's literally made an existential threat against Iran, which, to remind everyone, did not attack the United States, was in fact negotiating with the United States before the United States launched an unprovoked war in Iran, which is unequivocally and inarguably illegal. But this is a sign of desperation. Trump thought this war would be over in days. He thought the US would assassinate the supreme leader, and that would be the end of it. It would all just fall apart. Gone. Didn't happen. Not even close. In fact, what happened is Iran has retaliated and inflicted huge economic damage, not least by closing the Strait of Hormuz. That's why he's having a meltdown, a genocidal meltdown. That means economic pain across the world, including economic pain suffered by American citizens, and that puts Trump under ever-growing political pressure, which is why he is now resorting to apocalyptic and indeed genocidal threats against Iran as a nation.
Breaking news, Donald Trump just announced that death, fire, and fury will rain upon Iran if they do anything to block the Strait of Hormuz. He said, quote, if Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder than they have been hit thus far. Additionally, we will take out easily destroyable targets that will make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back again as a nation. And he also said, I hope and pray that it does not happen. This is a gift from the U.S. of A. to China and all of those nations that heavily use the Hormuz Strait. Hopefully it is a gesture that will be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump posted this at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, obviously, he is posting this because the price of oil has gone crazy, and he wants to have a chance of Republicans winning at least some races in the midterms.
Some more major news, guys. Per Donald Trump, if Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder than they have been hit so far. Additionally, we will take out easily destroyable targets that will make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back as a nation again. Death, fire, and fury will rain upon them. But I hope and pray that this does not happen. This is a gift from the United States of America to China and all nations that heavily use the Hormuz Strait. Hopefully it is a gesture that will be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump, we are now in the era where presidents tweet and they speak how they truly feel, and nobody does it better than Donald J. Trump. Make sure you follow so you can stay updated.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.